All right, welcome everybody. A super small group today, which tells me there's something wrong with my email system, but that's okay. So that's good news. That means I can pour a ton of energy into all of you guys. We got Mark McClanahan on here, and my last name's Patrick Shanahan. He and I are clearly related back in the old country somewhere, which is hilarious. Yeah, well, I'm really excited that you guys are all here. And despite the small group today, I will change absolutely nothing with the presentation. I will just get to pour more energy into you guys, your comments, your questions, your concerns. I call this thing the Q Thor Bootcamp because Q Thor is coming, but I want to rant about something else because it's top of mind and it's important to me. And it's not Instagram, but we'll talk about that in a second too. Let me get off that so it's not distracting. So I should say I've been at this business for like, I don't know, 8 years, and it was in the art industry before that. And I've been running sessions like this essentially like 3 days a week since right around the time the pandemic started. So it's got to be 50,000 artists and photographers now over the course of that entire time. We have a little bit over 10,000 customers at art storefronts. I get to see all their data, not only on who's selling what prices, this, that, and the other, but also like where did their traffic come from that actually led to these sales. What I've come to realize in all of that is there's only three viable ways to make it today as an artist, photographer who wants to sell their creations. Only three. And let's talk about the three. And to give it some teeth, let's just say a successful art business. I know everyone's definition of that is a little bit different, right? But for the sake of argument, let's just say a successful art business is an art business in which you have gross sales of $100,000 a year, right? Sounds like a lofty number, fine, but let's just say that. So, okay, there's only three ways to get there. Number one way, the way that everyone on this call would prefer to do, get into a gallery where all you have to do is create and they do everything else. That sounds awesome, right? Okay, let's work those numbers through. You're in a gallery, and you're doing $100,000 a year in gross sales. The gallery takes 50%. So that means at the end of the day, you get $50,000 back. And because it's gross sales, then you have to subtract your studio, your materials, your trips, your tripods, your lenses, all of that, and maybe you're left with $35,000. Hardly a living wage. Let's make that picture a little bit rosier. And by the way, the number of artists that are in that situation that are selling $100,000 a year in a gallery is probably less than 1 or 2% of the total artists and photographers that are out there trying to sell their art and photography. Let's make that picture a little bit rosier, and let's say $300,000. Okay, let's triple it in gross sales a year in a gallery. And with the aforementioned 50% haircut, 150, okay, you're making 100 grand a year. That's fantastic. That's less than 1%, probably less than 0.2% of artists and photographers out there. So in terms of like a viable path forward, the way that I like to explain making it in a gallery is to have that level of success that way as an artist or photographer is kind of like playing a sport versus being a professional athlete. How many people do you know play a sport? How many professional athletes do you know, right? Like the odds are just not fantastic. And the real death knell to the gallery model is you guys are all going to be artists and photographers for the rest of your life. I routinely get people on these calls in their 90s still trying to sell their art, which is amazing. And you realize it's the long game. Wherever you are, you have a ton of time left, right, to do this, God willing, of course. If you don't know who's purchasing your art and you can't market to them for the rest of your life, you don't have the ability to develop collectors. Collectors are folks that will come back and keep buying from you again and again and again, year after year after year. And it's the lifeblood of any art business. In the gallery model, you don't know because the gallery doesn't tell you who purchases. It's important to state that, important to understand that. All right, let's table the gallery model for a sec. Next is to become a road warrior. A road warrior is someone that does anywhere from 25 to 45 shows a year. The fairs, the shows, the farmers markets, the thises, the that's, and you are loading that car up, setting up the booth. Sometimes it's a dud, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's inclement weather. You're away from your family, you're 8 hours a day on your feet. It is not easy, it's hard. That being said, totally viable path to get there. If I was an artist myself and I was like looking back at my life and I wanted to give my like 20-year-old self some advice, okay, Emma, talking to you, you're the young one here, it would be like, don't have a wife, don't have a significant other, don't have kids, don't have a mortgage. And if you have any of those things, it's just a generalization. You're the young one and I'm looking at you. So go and do that when you're young. Because if you can do that when you're young, when you don't have the aforementioned significant other and kids and soccer games on Saturdays and a mortgage, that's when you're the freest to be able to do that. And it's totally a viable path. Like I've got multiple customers that are in their 50s and 60s that did it for years and years and years. One guy I think of, this guy Bill Stidham, 175,000 miles on his van in 6 years that he just used for his art shows. I mean, he hit it hard. You know what that guy has now? Healthy 6-figure a year business, and he barely does any shows anymore because he built up the list. He built up a customer base. He built up collectors. The third way, okay, is what everybody really, truly has to do. It's what you want to do, which is, I know I'm not going to get into a gallery. I know I'm not doing the show and thayer circuit. That's just too much. I can't be that road warrior. So I want to sell direct. I want to understand who's purchasing my work, and it's totally a viable path. It's what we advocate. Here's the rub, though. You have to market your own art. You have to market your own art. There is no one that is going to market it for you. And for some people, that is a painful thing to hear. For most artists and photographers, it's a painful thing to hear, but it's true. Anyone that's been in this business for any period of time knows that you guys are all sold a bill of goods that somehow an artist or a photographer's vocation is just to create this amazing thing, and everything else just happens, and nothing could be further from the truth. You have to get good and understand that marketing yourself is just as important a job as creating what you create. And the sooner you come to terms with that, the way better your life becomes. Why? Because there's never been a better time in the history of the world to do it. Not even close. I mean, for those of us that are older and remember the days before these things existed and before social networks with hundreds of millions of people worldwide were on their phones all day long, do you know how hard it was? Do you know how much harder it was? You were geographically fixed on the planet somewhere, and that's where you started, and that's what you had. You had to grind way harder. Now, if you take your marketing vocation seriously, if you're like, I'm going to get good at this, if you realize that your art business is essentially 2 trains on 2 tracks. Train number 1, your art, your craft, your creations, your subject matter material, your brush, your lens, how good you get with all of that. That train has its own path, and it will go throughout the rest of your career. You want to get better at it. You want to make sure that train has no brakes. The other one is how good you get at marketing yourself. And you need to treat it seriously, and you need to turn it into an art form. And if you understand those 2 things, that is the path that artists and photographers get on, will become successful, will have a business that is growing year after year after year. And I really firmly do believe there's never been a better time in the history of the world to do that. But it's actually simple. Simple, not easy. Not easy in the fact that you guys have to get good at marketing. Not good that you have to take it seriously. Not good that you have to learn how to do this. And nobody likes doing it. I totally get that, okay? I mean, I run the marketing department here. Truth be told, I don't even like doing it, okay? Posting on socials on a regular basis, content marketing, right? Running sales, all the things that you have to do. But I don't know what the alternative is. I don't know what the alternative is. Because of all the tens of thousands of artists and photographers that have come through these Zoom sessions in the last 3 years, there are maybe 1 or 2 that were doing great in the gallery. And I saw specifically, like right when COVID hit and all those gallery people got closed up, those people were flooding into these Zooms going, what do I do? I've got nothing. My income's done, right? It was terrifying. The road warriors are the road warriors. And then there's nothing else. You know, there's nothing else. Like, I've had like 6 people tell me they make more $10,000 a year on Saatchi, Fine Art America, Redbubble. I've had a couple of people on Etsy that are doing like $20,000 or $30,000 a year, but I haven't heard anyone else. So when you realize those odds, and please don't take it cynically, like this is only going to happen for you if you sign up at art storefronts. I don't care where you sign up or what you do, but I do care that if you want to take this business seriously and you want to see it growing year after year, it's the 2 trains, 2 tracks, no brakes. 2 trains, 2 tracks, no brakes. Okay. Now that rant is over with, I call this thing a Q4 Bootcamp, and I love the marathon analogy, all right? I hate running. I will never sign up for a marathon in my life. But I know some people that have, and there's one thing that you notice about those people that sign up for the marathon. As soon as you fill out that form for that miserable activity, your whole life changes. Why? You know the pain is coming. You start eating a little bit better. You start training and taking your exercising more seriously. You start getting better sleep. If it's me, you work on that drinking habit that you have, right? All of these things in your life, you start taking more seriously. And my contention, having been in this business for close to 10 years now and having seen what goes on in Q4 the last 3 months of the year, it's a marathon that you're signed up for whether you know it or not. And the training that you do between now and then, between the 4th quarter, the buying season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the roll up to Christmas, all of those sales that are in the water all throughout that, More art, more photography is sold in the fourth quarter than the other 3 quarters combined almost sometimes. Like our customers that do it well have a good year based on what that fourth quarter is. And so my contention is that you're signed up for that marathon whether you know it or not. And the question is, what are you going to start doing between now and then? What are you going to start doing between now and then to get ready? Because if it's wait until the things start getting colder, kids are back at school, you're running around like a crazy person, next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving. Oh, I got to have a sale. And then you post something on Facebook and send an email to 6 people. Not going to be good. Not going to be good, right? So we need to start training now, right? We need to start getting our businesses in order now. And there's a number of different ways that you can approach that and that you can contemplate it. But step 1 in all of it is have it in the back of your head. It's coming. What you do between now and then is going to dictate the level of success that you have, and it is the most important time of the year to be selling. Without question, not even close. And you have to have your art up on the website. You have to start working on an email list. You have to start marketing regularly and consistently on the social media platforms. If you do that now, you're gonna wake up come October and you're gonna be like, oh, got a little momentum in my back. Things actually look pretty good here. People actually know who I am, and I have the ability to market and run some sales when Black Friday and Cyber Monday comes along. So very, very important to understand that happens every single solitary year. Every year it is absolutely fantastic in terms of sales, in terms of art and photography. So all very, very important. Pricing is another big one. And pricing is one of my favorite topics in this business period, right? And do you know what I love more than anything else? All the bullshit advice that's out there based on pricing. Here's the formula that you use for pricing. It's material cost times square inch times media times your time. Yeah, okay, great. Thanks for that. Magic, really. The only thing that matters is whether or not the art sells. There is no magical formula that's going to help you price your art if the art doesn't sell, which is why all of those formulas are nonsense. Pricing is quite simply this. And it's awesome and it's freeing. And once you do it and once you realize this lesson, and I have like a really in-depth article on this and I'm going to send it to all of you. You, creative types, need to have prices from 0 to 100. You need to have prices from 100 to 1,000. You need to have prices over 1,000. And you need to have one thing in the shop that is obscenely expensive. Okay? Now let me break that all down with some real numbers. The 0 to 100 is really, really easy, especially if you're reproducing your artwork in terms of prints. But you also have to have non-wall art as a part of your lineup, okay? It can't just be wall art. And the reason is that not everybody is ready to buy wall art all the time. And so you're out there, you're doing your marketing, you're getting your art, your photography in front of people, and they're like, wow, I really like this person. I really like their creativity. Problem, I'm not in the market for art right now. I want to reward this person for their talent, but I'm not in the market for art right now. If only they had something that was non-wall art related. Oh, they don't. Tell you what, I'll make a mental note to come back here. I'm going to go watch some cat videos, and you know what the masks do there, right? They're not coming back. They're never coming back. So the importance of having the non-wall art is so critical. No one talks about this enough. A business, specifically your guys' businesses, can be judged how well they are growing on one metric and one metric alone: the number of new customers you are acquiring per year. The number of new customers you are acquiring per year. Why? Why? Because the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. It is significantly easier to get somebody to come back and purchase a second time than it is to go out and find a new person and have them purchase for the first time. And this is just a fundamental rule of most businesses, but specifically this business. And I alluded earlier to how important it is to not sell in galleries so that you know who is purchasing your work. There is a phenomenon in here. I stole it from this guy, so I always give him credit. Hold on, I'm going to grab his book. I stole this from Weiland, okay? Weiland is the whale guy. Most would say the best-selling artist in the United States. By the way, this book, fire, okay? Insane, amazing. You need to go buy it. Honestly, I should be on commission for this. In fact, he's got a gallery close to where I live. I'm going to go in there and get it. Short, sweet, no fluff. I'm sorry, here it is. But the rub is it's not on Amazon. I think he donates 100% of the proceeds to charity, so you have to buy it from his website. But honestly, Google this book and buy this book. Weiland defines a collector as someone that will purchase in upwards of 7+ pieces of art from him over the course of a lifetime. And this is a phenomenon I see played out continually with my own customer base. But when you have collectors, it's a phenomenon of this business, right? Like there's certain product categories that have collectors, right? If you ask my 7-year-old kid, it's those damn Pokemon cards. They're all over my floor right now. You guys would laugh if you saw these. But shoes, cars, wristwatches, art is one of them. And it's a fantastic thing because you will keep creating throughout the course of your life. And these collectors will just go along for the ride. You keep raising prices, they keep coming and buying and buying and buying. Oh, that's awesome. Emma just said that book is on Spotify for free. I did not know that. Definitely listen to it. You want to highlight it, though. I'm not kidding. Great book. Where was I going with all that? So if we know the most important thing an art business can have as a collector, and then we know in order for a collector to become a collector, they first have to purchase something, that underscores how important it is to have non-wall art as a part of the lineup, okay? That's the 0 to 100 range. Also in there, you obviously have small prints. And then let's say you're 100 to 1,000, you get into some bigger size prints, right? Your metals, your canvas, your acrylic, you go through that 0 to 1,000 range, and maybe close to the 1,000 range, you're in limited editions, and then above that, you have your originals. Everyone has to adjust it a little bit to taste. But you also need something obscenely expensive in the store. And let's say that you sell your originals, just to keep the math simple, at like $1,000. I want one in there for 10 grand. And why? Why one in there for 10 grand? That's crazy. I'm never going to sell that thing. I don't even care if you don't ever sell that thing. You ever been to a car dealership? And you know, in the car dealership, that the big glass box in the middle, I know the car dealership is a miserable feeling in most people's heads because you have to deal with the salespeople. But anyway, the big glass box in the middle, right? Let's say we're at the Toyota dealership. In that big glass box in the middle is the Toyota Supra carbon fiber TRD whatever. It's $275,000, right? There's a reason that they put those cars inside the glass box, and it's because human beings are wired to make purchase decisions based on comparison. We anchor onto certain things to compare to other certain things. And so when we go and look at that $250,000 Supra or the $150,000 Land Cruiser that's inside the glass box, we anchor onto that price point, and it makes us feel just that much better about buying the $60,000 Highlander, right? That's on the outside. And that's a phenomenon called price anchoring, and it's just one of these psychological things that's really, really, really important to do. You feel better knowing that I didn't buy the most expensive thing. It makes you feel a little bit better. That's why you put that high-priced item in there. Also, everyone's followers, yours, mine, any business, that all fall into a thing that I call the socioeconomic bell curve, okay? It's your typical bell curve, exactly what you'd expect. And down at the low end of it, you have the low socioeconomic status. Those people can't afford anything. They'll like, comment, share on your post. They're still good people. Then you have lower income folks, middle class, upper middle class, high net worth individuals, the bell curve, right? You know, what does everyone always say to me all the time? Yeah, I just want to target high net worth buyers. Yeah, good. That's great. You and every other business on the planet, aside from the 99-cent store, wants to target the high net worth buyers, okay? That is why it's insanely difficult to do that. But the point is, you need to have this range of pricing that I'm discussing to be able to cover all of the spots on that bell curve. Because what happens when you do that is you acquire the highest number of customers possible. And the beautiful thing about acquiring the highest number of customers possible is you can market to these folks in the future. The bell curve is not a fixed entity. Your buyers and potential buyers are going up and down that bell curve their entire lives. The one that's living in their mother's basement right now is buying their new house 2 years from now. And you got that sale. Do you want to know why you got that sale? Because you sold them a mug or a mouse pad or a calendar or a whatever, and it sat on their fridge. It could be a sticker, okay, that's on my garage fridge with all the rest of the stickers. And every time I go out to get a beer, which is an enjoyable experience for me, I look at your art, okay? Now I've moved out of my mother's basement, and I'm going to go buy a house, and you got that sale. And that's how it works. And I get a lot of pushback on the merch. Okay, I'm a fine artist, Patrick. I would never sell that merch, that cheap tchotchke crap. I'm not doing that. To which I respond, let me know the last time any of you went to a museum that didn't have a gift shop. I'll wait. Okay, if Van Gogh's Starry Night is on the wall, and you can also buy a Starry Night poster in the gift shop for $22 plus tax, I'm pretty sure Van Gogh's not losing any sleep over it. Technically, he's really asleep. He's dead. But you get the point, okay? You get the point. You ever been to a concert that hasn't had merch? I don't think so, okay? The Rolling Stones, take your pick, okay? Merch is very, very important. in the simple lens that you acquire more customers as a result of it. So having that price range is huge. What is one of the most defeating things that happens to artists and photographers out there? You worked hours on a piece. I mean, hours. It took so much time. You're going to sell this thing for $800. And what happens? Someone's like, yeah, that's beautiful. Would you take $25 for it? Oh, you're just deflated, right? Like this person is just, I mean, it's like a troll on social media. I mean, they have just ruined your entire day. The beautiful thing is when you have the range of pricing, it doesn't happen as much. It almost doesn't happen at all because people understand they have a context of where things are in your lineup. Oh, this is $100 and under. Oh, this is $100 to $1,000. Oh, this is over $1,000. Oh, that's the $5,000 piece. And what's more, when you get those folks who don't know any better, okay, most of them are not bad people. They just don't know any better. You can be like, oh, that's fantastic. I love that you have the interest. That one costs quite a bit more, but let me show you what is in your range. And then we gently guide them to where we are in our range. Do you know how much better that is for your self-esteem? Okay, let me tell you, significantly better. It is significantly better for your self-esteem. You are going to be a happier and better functioning member of society, okay? Your significant other is like, this is awesome. Why are you in such a good mood? It's because you have the range of pricing. Very, very important. That's pricing. I'm going to send you a follow-up article on it after this whole thing's over. In addition to the pricing, the next thing I want to talk about is Instagram. Most important social network for artists and photographers. It's not even close. Secondarily, it's Facebook, okay? Have to be working on both of them. Well, Patrick, what about TikTok or what about Pinterest or what about SEO? Yeah, what about shiny objects that are not going to move your business anywhere and are going to put you on the road to a hobby? All right, that's what all the rest are. I don't care what anyone else says, anyone's friends, anyone. No one is selling art on any of the rest of those things, okay? They are lying to you if they're saying they are. It's nonsense. I've looked at way too much data. Aside from onesies, twosies here with weird circumstances, the two most important places that you need to be are Instagram and secondarily Facebook. And thank God for that. Okay, don't talk to me about TikTok. I will kick you right out of this Zoom. You are lying to yourself, okay? Stupid Chinese app, communist app that is just trying to flood you with an endorphin hit. You got 10,000 views. You didn't get 10,000 views. You got 100 views from people that are never going to buy your work, okay? So when we stay focused on the only two platforms that matter, to the detriment of wasting time on any of the rest of those ones, I don't care. Just stay out of there. Stay in my lane. Facebook and Instagram and Facebook. You will end up winning. And why is Instagram the most important? What do you guys create? You create visual creations. What is Instagram? A giant visual search engine. Imagine that. Lines up pretty nicely, right? The beautiful thing is that Instagram has become, over the years, evolved into the credit check for artists and photographers. What do I mean by that? I'm going to buy something. I saw something. My neighbor had something. It's really important for me to keep up with the Jones. I'm going to go look at what he got. And what am I doing? I'm going instantaneously to Amazon. I'm going to read the reviews. Was that thing good? Is there a better one? Maybe there's a better one. Maybe I can one-up this guy because I got to keep up with the Jones. Now, we check Amazon is a way of getting credit checks, like getting the reviews of what something is, right? So you could say Consumer Reports or some of the other sites too. For artists and photographers, it's like, hey, I just saw this. I'm at your friend's house. You sold some art to your friend. I saw that. That's a great piece. Who did that? Oh, yeah, it's my buddy. It's my cousin, Mark McClanahan over there. And you should check him out. You know what they're going to do? They're going to pull out Instagram, and they're going to look for you, and they're going to look at your profile, and are they going to say, is this an artist that's doing anything? Is this an artist that's putting out content regularly? Are they on the up and up? Do they have 2 followers or 2,000 followers, right? And it's very, very important to understand, one, that Instagram offers a credit check, okay? So fundamentally, it's important just for that matter. 2, secondarily, and I should also say, like, you know, the data in this industry is so utterly, totally, completely opaque, right? Like, there's so much nonsense out there, it's mind-boggling. But there's 2 outfits that report on the super high end of the art market. One's the Hiscox Group, it's an insurance entity out of London, and the other is Art Basel teams up with UBS Payne Weber, I think that's who it is. The 2 of them put out a report, and what they do is they survey every year all of the folks that are essentially buying $100,000 pieces and up. And every single solitary year, I've watched the results of those reports when it comes out, and every year it ticks up Did you follow and or consume content from an artist on Instagram? Was Instagram influential in your buying decision? And in both cases, both of their surveys, like those percentages are really pretty high. So it's significant in its ability to help you guys sell art. The top end, high end buyers are all there. Okay. So that makes it very important as well. The beautiful thing about Instagram is you can reach a ton of buyers. The terrible thing about Instagram is you have to post frequently on it for years to really make a huge dent. So yeah, one, you got to get started. Two, you have to understand you're going to suffer in the short term because it's not easy and you have to learn how to do it and you have to learn how to enjoy it and get good at it. And we can talk about that in depth. I have a ton of teaching on Instagram. But the beautiful thing that exists currently on Instagram, and I love this. Okay, we're going to have to do a little social media history lesson. But Facebook emerged. Facebook pretty much became a monopoly. Okay, power was unchecked. Then a new rising competitor came along, and Facebook is like, we can't have any competition. It was Instagram. We're going to go buy those folks. So they bought them. Okay, great. Now Facebook's even more powerful. It's Facebook and Instagram. I'm streaming on their platform when I'm saying this, so I get banned. You guys will know why. Zuckerberg kicks my door, and you'll know why. So now they own these two platforms. So the playbook was, we are a monopoly. If any competitors come along, we're just going to buy them. Okay. Snapchat emerges. Snapchat starts taking all of these young kids away from Facebook and Instagram. They're like, all right, what does the playbook say to do in this situation? Let me see the playbook. Mark, it says if we have a competitor, go and buy them. All right, somebody go and buy Snapchat. So they go and try and buy Snapchat. Snapchat says pound sand. Mark's like, okay, what does the playbook say now? We don't know. He goes, all right, we're just going to copy them verbatim. And so Snapchat had these things called stories that disappeared after 24 hours, and Facebook copied them verbatim. So, okay, now Snapchat peters out. I mean, who's using that? I don't know. Some kids, whatever. It's whatever. I don't want to talk about it. The next one came along. This time it was TikTok. And Mark Zuckerberg went right back to the playbook. He's like, okay, this is awesome. TikTok is starting to steal a bunch of our users. It's competition. What should I do? Let's go try and buy them. He goes and tries and buy them again. They tell him no. He said, my wife is Chinese. Let me buy you. They still said no. So the next thing they do is they're like, okay, what is the playbook saying next? Copy them verbatim. And so that's what they did. And by the way, the other social players were watching, and now YouTube watched, and they're like, okay, let's copy them verbatim. So what did TikTok have? These short form little videos that were 120 seconds or less and were very compelling cell phone style video size. They copied that feature verbatim and called it Instagram Reels. YouTube saw that, copied that feature verbatim, called it YouTube Shorts. I could cycle through the 3 views of those 3 different products, and you could almost not tell the difference. They even put the buttons in the same place as copycats. Anyway, why it was a brilliant thing, TikTok coming along, is it destroyed what has been up to that point in time the social contract. What is a social contract? What do I mean by that? Hey, art storefronts, work really hard on my platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and post a bunch of content. When you do, people will follow you and become fans. After you earn those followers and those fans, some small portion of what you create will be shown to those followers and fans for free. Early on in the days, it was like 90%. Recently, it's like 2 to 5%. Tiny, almost nothing, right? So that is what the social contract was. TikTok, God bless him, despite the fact that I don't like the platform and think it's evil, has been still siphoning off users from Instagram at an alarming rate. It's all the younger kids and the people that are chasing likes that are not real and chasing views that are not real. It's a worthless platform. Anyway, so what they've done is they've torn up the social contract. So now where we are is we're in a scenario where you can get onto Instagram and you can have 2 followers, your significant other and your mother, okay? She likes and comments on everything. God bless you. Thank you, Mom. You can create content in the form of an Instagram reel. And an Instagram reel can potentially, if it's good, be seen by hundreds, by thousands, by even millions. In which case, you organically marketing without leaving your house, showing off your creations, understanding the platform, can get free reach. It used to be you didn't get that. And it used to be you had to pay a ton of money in terms of Facebook and Instagram ads to get that attention. Now you can do that without leaving your house. And that's an incredible, incredible thing. So it represents a huge, huge opportunity. And so that's where we stand right now as it sits in 2023. I believe Instagram is the most amazing platform that exists. that can bring you guys buyers, bring you guys fans, bring you guys email addresses, and yes, sell your art of photography, but you have to get good at marketing it. You have to understand how to post. You have to work on your posting frequency, and you have to learn to love it. You have to learn to love it. So it's really, really important. Yeah, and Jatinder's like, hey, can you please talk about art storefronts? I should mention, so I run the marketing department here, and the purpose of these sessions are, we somehow dragged you guys into our ecosystem. Somehow, you saw a post, somebody told you about us. You're like, hey, these people are interesting. What? Let me go see. Let me go see if they know what they're talking about. Do these people know what they're talking about? Why do they email so much? Do I know, like, and trust them enough to potentially do business for them? So that's what that session is for. This session is for, Jatinder, and I don't normally go into all the plans and all the pricing and all the packages and all the rest of that stuff. We have a demo process for that will walk you through all of it and talk about all the plans, all the pricing, and everything else. That being said, we'll open it up into Q&A in just a second. And you can ask any questions that you want. But today is really just about, like I said, okay, who are these guys? What are they all about? What can I learn from them? This, that, and the other. And it's way better, way more effective than emailing you too much, sending you blog posts, hoping you're going to come follow us on Instagram, right? It's just a much more effective and direct way to communicate, which is why I encourage all of my customers to do and have as many Zoom sessions or FaceTimes or Microsoft Teams. Does anyone use that project? Garbage. Or Google Meets, any which way, with your prospective buyers, because unless you can be face-to-face, best way to sell art of photography, best way to sell anything. The next best is this. It's what we're doing right now. And I should mention, Jatinder, just to give you a little tease into what we do as a product, we so believe in this method of teaching and getting together as a group and a customer base that we have 5 of these a week internally. So I think we're even like 6 or 7 internally. Meaning when you sign up, potentially become a customer, 6 days a week, there are sessions like this that teach everything about everything, and they're all there is to do. And not only do you get to learn, you get to be in here with your peers. You get to hear about their highs, their lows, their mids, because let me tell you, there's plenty of all 3, especially when you're in this business roller coaster, ups, downs, ups, downs, ups, downs. And it's hard. It's hard. You guys are all solopreneurs. You don't have a team, right? You don't have an office full of people. It's just you grinding, and either the aforementioned mother or your significant other bucking you up along the way. Occasionally your friends, right? And it's hard. It's hard. There's ups and downs. So in addition to all of the teaching that we do on the tactical marketing stuff, kind of like what you've got a taste of today, although I've kind of been ranting, I've really been teaching. But anyway, you also get the emotional support, right? Of going through it with your peers, of seeing people that look just like you, that are just as terrified to be on video as you are, making Instagram reels and making a fool of themselves in some of them, but getting better and still doing it day after day after day. For as much as I've ranted about marketing, what do all artists and photographers do out there? Back of their head, they secretly know they need to get good at marketing and do the marketing. And yet they treat the marketing like the New Year's resolution, right? It's January. It's going to be my year. I'm going to get fit. Signed up for that gym membership, going 4 days a week. I'm looking good. March rolls around and you haven't been once all month. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So that is what we try to prevent our customers from doing, and instead staying at it consistently. So that is my spiel. That is my speech. That is my rant for Friday. We can now open it up to Q&A. I'm happy to teach a little bit on Instagram if we want to do that today too. I like to keep these things free flowing on a Friday for my own sanity. It should be mentioned that not only can you ask me questions, but we also have an Art Storefronts customer on here, so you don't have to hear it from the corporate shill mouthpiece, i.e. me. We have Andrea. What is your name again? I do this to her every day. I can't help it. Is it? How do I say it?
Tell them what my name is.
Andrea. See? I did know what your name was. We've done like 30 of these together. So she is a very talented photographer from the island of Vancouver in Canada. And how long have you been a customer?
I launched my website last March, so just over a year.
So just over a year. So you can ask questions of her or me. Anything goes. And how do you go about that? So if you're one of the brave ones that has your camera on, all you have to do is raise your hand, and I'll see that, and I can do it that way. If you don't want to turn your camera on, that's okay. Look at the bottom of your Zoom window, that's a little smiley face that says reactions. And there's an ability for you to raise your hand there, digitally speaking. That lets me know, hey, this person's got a question, and I can unmute you, and I can bring you on. Or you can throw questions in the chat, Or if you're one of the ones that's watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I see your comments too, and I can answer those as well, i.e. Natalia, hand-painted shirts. Yeah, sure, that works. That's merch. Love this. Great, fantastic. Nice to have you out there. So who wants to... Oh, Junko, you want to start us off? Bravery. I like that.
Okay.
How do I say it? Is it
Hello
Junko?
from Honolulu.
Oh, I love Honolulu.
I'm a retired academic artist,
Amazing.
and for 40 years, and then now I'm retired in Hawaii and trying to soften my academic background into more marketable art and trying new series.
Awesome.
And what's the strategy? Should I continue to market my old work, which
100%.
I have no more desire to continue,
Yes,
but
you have to.
I think it has some attraction, and then start posting new small works?
Yes.
And I heard your very broad market strategy, and I think I can trust your instinct, and I would like to learn a little bit more about specific how to direct my target to interior design, corporate art collector type of people.
I love this question.
Yeah, not a general crowd. So I don't know how Instagram would help. I've been on Facebook diligently.
Okay. How do I pronounce your first name first?
Junko.
Awesome.
Yes.
So a couple of things to unpack there. Let's start with the new body of work versus the old body of work. What I find is almost universally true is artists and photographers create a body of work, do not do any marketing, never got the work in front of enough eyeballs to find out if it'll actually sell or not, then make the determination that, oh, that's the old stuff, I want to go work on some new stuff, and they go and work on the new stuff. Rinse and repeat. So you don't know whether your audience would like the old stuff or like the new stuff or like the mid-range stuff because you've never got it in front of enough eyeballs to know. Hence my whole rant about marketing, right? And it's interesting because we have this new service called Copilot, and what the service does is we integrate with our customers' websites, their Facebook account, their email service provider, and their Instagram, and we start posting on their behalf. And what it does is it essentially, we have an algorithm that just cycles through all of the images on their website, right? And routinely what happens is that our customers, because they were all focused on the new stuff, they weren't even showing the old stuff. And we show the old stuff because our system does it and it sells. And they're like, I can't believe that this happened. And we're like, aha, you never got it in front of enough eyeballs, right? It's kind of like, when you have like that band that you love, maybe it's like, a classic band, and their old ones were actually hits and their new stuff is like, and they just want to play the new stuff. And we're all just sitting in the audience like, can you just play the hits, please? That's why we're here, right? So that's an important one. Number one. Number two, I just want to attract high-end buyers and interior decorators. You know how you do that? By not worrying about it, by just focusing on your marketing. No, everybody wants to attract the high-end buyers and everyone wants to attract the interior designers. And there's strategies to go after interior designers, okay? And I've got great ones, but I don't believe they're as effective as just focusing on your marketing in Instagram and Facebook. And the reason is that interior designers especially are so bombarded with artists trying to get their attention. Their inboxes are full of artists trying to get their attention. And I'll never forget this, like a year and a half ago, somebody posted we have a private Facebook group for our customers called Small Wins. And she's like, you guys, huge win. I just sold $35,000 worth of art to an interior decorator. Obviously that thing became a lightning button post, right? Everyone's like, how'd you do it? Did you contact her? She's like, the interior decorator's daughter was following me for a year and a half on Instagram, told her mom, and her mom contacted me. That's how it happens in the real world. That's how you attract an interior decorator. You focus on the one thing that you can control, which is regular and consistent marketing, okay, on Facebook and Instagram, and that's what happens. Now, There is a site for interior decorators called Houzz, and you can go on to Houzz, Houzz, and you can attempt to contact 50 to 100 interior decorators a day. But in my experience, your hit rate on that will be about contacted back about 3%, and you'll probably get 1 out of 100. You probably get 1 out of 500 over the line. So you need to contact about, I forget what their daily limit is, but assume you need to contact interior decorators every day, 100 a day for probably a year to be able to actually get that portion of the business going. It's much easier to just focus on regular and consistent marketing on the two platforms that work, Facebook and Instagram, and see where it all ends up. You're welcome. I'm actually Hawaiian, by the way. Believe it or not, I actually have a Hawaiian name even. My great relative jumped ship off an Irish whaling ship. Mark and I's great relative, because he's McClanahan, my last name's Shanahan, jumped ship, married a native, and one branch of my family went there. I used to go to Hawaii every year of my life. My family's from Kaneohe and Kailua, actually, on Oahu. I even know how to say it in the Hawaiian lingos. We can get into some pigeon talk later. All right, who's next? It's a shy bunch today, Andrea. It's a shy bunch. I'm going to start going. Debbie, Angelo, Susie, Leon, come on. You guys got to have questions. It doesn't need to be about, okay, there we go. My cousin jumped in. All right, Leon, we'll get you next. Mark, how you doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay, great. I'm doing great. Just want to say first, I appreciate what you're doing. I think I've been following you guys for maybe 6 months on Instagram.
Awesome.
And I resonated with everything you were talking about today. My wife, though she works full-time something else, she's the only one who's around to help. So the solarpreneurship is definitely what I'm experiencing. And I started my business in 2020.
Okay.
And I was doing a lot of marketing on Instagram, but then I started to do pop-up markets, and I was doing I actually made some money, that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of turned into a road warrior, road dog the last
good for you
years.
Yeah.
And it's been going really good. But the other thing for me that I'm dealing with is
have you read my guide on what to do for fairs and shows?
For what?
Fairs and in-person events.
No, I haven't.
Mark, you're breaking my heart. It's one of the most comprehensive things I've done. I'm going to pull it up. You keep talking.
Okay. But I'm sure a lot of other people resonate with this. I do a lot of different things. So the business I was just talking about, I do tie-dye with bleach and hand paint clothes. So I upcycle clothing. That's been the moneymaker for me. And the other thing I do that I started this last year is I have a podcast. But before all of this, I've been a musician the last 20 years, and I've steadily recorded albums. So right now I have a different Instagram I have one for my music. I have one for my art. I have one for my podcast. I have one for the clothing, and they're pretty much all different names too. I guess my question is posting frequency. And yeah, I don't know if I can actually the other thing I did was I started a Patreon too. That actually it's the first time I took everything and packaged it up in one site so that you can see, this is exactly what this guy does. He does a lot of different things. The other thing that's different for me as a musician is just the musical distribution part of it. And there's so many ways to independently release your music. So that's another reason why for now I'm actually sticking to just Patreon. I'm not necessarily going to put it out for streaming out there yet. I'm going to just I'm going to house everything in Patreon.
Yeah.
So long story short, I guess I'm just asking, how much should I be posting on each of these 4 accounts? And do you think it's even possible to, manage 4 of these different projects like this?
Do you have kids?
I got 1 and number 2's on the way.
Okay, congratulations on that. You ever watched 4 Kids?
Pardon me?
Have you ever watched 4 Kids?
I mean, I coached high school basketball, so I've watched 17 kids, but that's easier.
Okay. Is it easier to coach 1 kid or 4 kids? Don't answer that question because you can answer that both ways. But 1 kid is the answer. I would combine all 4 of those things under one roof. Straight up. I wouldn't wait. I would pick whichever one has the highest following. I would announce it the next day, and I would combine them all. I would take the other 3 Instagram accounts. I would put them dormant, which you can do, which means no one's going to be confused where you're posting because they're just going to go dark. 1 link tree, throw all those links in there. You are the brand as much as all of those other things are, and you can combine it all under one roof, and I don't think you'll even lose sleep. I would probably also ditch Patreon for Substack because I think Substack takes less of a commission, and you can do all of the same things. So something to look into, but just put that in your pipe for the time being. But yeah, I would put that all under one roof. I straight up would. And by the way, not only did you pick one of the hardest things to make it in, artist or photographer, but your side hustle is the second hardest, or even harder, which is music, right? It literally goes, in terms of the arts, hardest to make it, poetry. Number 2, writer. Number 3, musician. Number 4, selling art or photography. But I think you're the brand just as much as all of the rest of those things. I think people get sucked into your creative world, and it'd be more beneficial to seeing all of the different things. That's just a recommendation. That's how I would do it, but you can table that. Posting frequency.
Okay. Sorry, you said Substack? Substack was the other thing for Patreon?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit better than Patreon. I think the commission is a much lower rake, and it's the same thing. It just allows you to manage a subscription business, and you can do all the same stuff in there. But just take a look at it. You don't need to make a call on that right now. In terms of posting frequency.
I really appreciate it. I wouldn't be here if you didn't email me twice today, so thank you.
Yeah, sweet. There you go. Okay. I know I email too much, but it does work sometimes. In terms of posting frequency, it's a fantastic question, okay? I love this question more than you could possibly imagine, and I need to make some blanket statements first, and then I'll get into the true tactical statements. On the aforementioned TikTok, I laughed, right? Because everyone tells me about how they got 10 million views on there. And I'm like, yeah, did you sell any art? They're like, no, not anything. And my contention is that likes, comments, shares, view count, all bullshit metrics. Complete bullshit. Just designed for one thing, to give us little dopamine hits and keep us on the platform a little bit longer, right? And so knowing that, and I should preface this, I've been marketing on social media sites since their inception. I've spent over $50 million on Facebook ads. I have a vague idea of how the whole thing works, and I've been through it quite a lot. What I tell my customers is the only metric that matters, the only metric that matters is whether or not what you're creating is selling. The next only metric that matters is number of pieces of content created per week, okay? And the reason that I say that is a couple. One, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, right? No one's good enough at making reels yet. No one's good enough at making stories. No one's good enough at posting. No one posts enough. And so you're like, you're looking at all of that, and you're like, okay, greatest opportunity in the history of mankind, this social network, Facebook, for reaching millions of people without leaving my house. Awesome. I need to get really, really good at it. If I need to get really, really good out of it, that's not even that much work that will put me at the top 5% in the entire United States of what artists can do. If that is my goal, it's going to be the number of pieces of content I create, not because it's the most effective thing to do, but because if you created 1,000 reels and I create one a week, and you created 1,000 reels per month, you're going to get really, really good at it. And your reels are going to get more views, more free reach, more direct messages, and all the metrics that do matter. So I tell all my customers right now, the only thing that matters is number of pieces of content created per week, because I believe that is the goal that aligns where you need to go for the rest of your career with becoming a really powerful, potent, competent storyteller that stands above the herd, okay? So that's what I would say. The next I would say is that no one posts frequently enough. And the reason that no one posts, not the reason, but the reason why this is so important is that the half-life of a post on Facebook or Instagram is, it is a day tops. It is like 12 hours. Okay, and when you realize that, you realize my posting frequency and serendipity is what wins on social media. And the story I always give is like, it's busy in the supermarket. I'm trying to get home, have one of those aforementioned beers, and it's a little bit of a jockeying to get in line, right? And so I'm racing with this other lady. We both came around the corner. I looked at her. She looked at me. It's on. Which one of us is going to pick the best line? I'm a little bit quick. I cut her off selfishly. God has a sense of humor, because I now look at which lane I picked, and there's some lady in front of me with 755 things in her cart. I lost. Now I'm in this lane. Now I've got to ride it out. Phone comes out. I start looking at Instagram, and because you posted 20 minutes ago, you got my attention. I followed you. I'm now on your list. 3 months later, I bought a piece. That's how it happens in the real world. The serendipity happened is you posting at that moment in time right before I got behind the person with the 350 items in their cart, okay? So the frequency is more important than anything else. It just is. Now, if I was to drop this and put this up, I believe right now, we as a business at Art Storefronts are posting way too much. but there's a reason that we're doing it. It's the same reason that I just gave you. Like, I want to know, I want all of us to get better as creators. And let me tell you, do you know who posts on our Instagram account? Is it downstream members of my marketing team? It's me, and it's the CEO. He has an entire company to run. I have an entire marketing department to run, and we're doing it. What does that tell you? Like, I'm not trying to be some guru that's shouting at you on a hill, like, do as I say, not as I do. Like, no, do as I do, right? And so if you have a business profile on Instagram, and you pull Instagram, your phone up like this, and you go to, and if you don't have a business account, I think all of you guys should have a business account. It's a simple switch. Google how to do it. Business account on Instagram, not personal. So there's this little hamburger menu up in the upper right-hand corner, right? If I click the hamburger menu, because I have a business account, this is going to allow me to pull up what's called the Insights report. So I'm now looking at the Insights report, right? And if by default, this gives you a view of the last 7 days, right? And so I can see in the last 7 days, Art Storefront's account has done 5 posts, 78 stories, 98 reels, 2 videos, 5 live videos. So we're doing like 188 pieces of content a week, essentially. We did like 275 last week. And that's way too much. It's way too much. It's actually sort of obscene. But what we're doing is my whole team, myself, Nick, our CEO, we are getting better and better and better and leveling up. And the sheer amount of comments, which is real, okay? Comments represent quantitative feedback, right? It's not a view count, which is nonsense. It's made up. It's not a like, oh, everybody likes everything. Scrolling by, okay, I like that, I like that, I like that. Then it's worthless. The comments are actually really, really important, okay? Comments are really, really important. People saving your post is really, really important. No one ever talks about that. But where was I going with that whole rant? Do more than you're doing. Do it for like a year. That is the number one way to start. After that, 5 to 6 stories a day, every single solitary day, okay? 2 feed posts per day, every single solitary today. 2 to 3 reels every single solitary day, and occasionally some live broadcasts. What most people don't understand is Instagram's 4 social networks inside of 1 social network, okay? What do I mean by that? I'm on my profile, right? There is social network number 1 in Instagram, the feed. In the feed, you can create a number of different posts. You can create a single image post. You can create a single video post. You can create an image carousel post. You can create a video carousel post. Social network number 2 are the reels. It's a separate social network inside the social network, and I'm going to get to my point in this in a moment. When you create a reel gets placed automatically in the feed. Just so they can make things insanely confusing, there is a reel, okay, which is 120 seconds or less, created on Instagram as a reel. And then there are all the rest of the reels, which is any video that you put on Instagram. Now they call a reel. Okay, fine. I made my piece on that. The third social network on Instagram is stories, all right? And the stories are up top. Everyone knows what these look like, right?
This is a great...
Sometimes the thing that they stole from potentially Snapchat or buying. Stop. Shut up, you. And that's also a social network. The fourth, which is the least important, but my favorite, surprise, that are creating live video broadcasts on Instagram. My contention is that you should be doing all 4 live broadcasts, the very last, focus on the other 3 in that frequency, 5 to 6 a day. And might as well pull this up because brand new intel that I just saw today. And, it should be noted that like the only person that knows what the all powerful algorithm does and is internally those guys at Facebook, right? Where did he put this thing? Did I email it to myself? Oh, no, I know I can find it. I want to show this to you guys because I'm literally going to take this. Let me get this down just so you don't see this. Let me get this down. Bear with me, you guys. I'll have it in 1 sec. I'm going to take some of the intel that I saw in this reel today, and I am going to, how do I do it? Let's see if it opens.
Instagram just had a massive algorithm update. Here's everything we need to know. Hashtags. Hashtags are not crucial to growth. Instagram no longer wants you to use 8 to 15 hashtags. They want you using keywords within your captions, not the captions you see on the screen, captions that you have to write out. If you are using hashtags, the longer the hashtag with more keywords, the better chance you have to end up on the explore page. Number 2, edit your videos within the app. Don't take a video from another platform and post it on Instagram with the watermark on it. You're gonna lose reach. Number 3, post every day. Instagram wants you showing up daily and consistently. Number 4, stories. Posting too many stories, like having a ton of dots at the top, it's spammy. 5 to 6 stories is ideal. Number 5, Comments. Always reply to your comments, especially within the first hour. And number 6 is saved posts. Getting a large number of saves has 2 benefits. Your audience will not only consume your content once, they're going to come back to it again. And number 2, posts that have more saves are more likely to show up on your followers' home feed. So if your posts aren't getting a ton of reach or engagement, encourage people to save it. But it has to be a post that's worth saving. Instagram just had a massive algorithm update.
Okay, so broadly speaking, I put myself back in. I largely agree with what he's saying there, and I know he's read, their documents. But the algorithm is over here today, then it's over there tomorrow, and it's all exhausting. So consistency is the ballgame. Number of pieces of content that you create per week is an easy thing to focus on, and leave that for a year. After you do that for a year, then you know what time to post. Then you know what content to post. Then you're really, really good at it. Then you can do it anywhere. You get super comfortable. You get the reps and sets that you need to be great at this. And this isn't going away. Like, especially this Reels product, you guys understand it's turning into TV. More people are spending time watching any of the 3, either the TikTok product, the Shorts product, or the Reels product, than they are watching TV. And when you think about it, do you know what the algorithm is doing? It's saying instead of 100 channels that we all grew up with, or maybe like 600 channels on DirecTV or whatever, turns out there's 100 million channels. And they're all arranged on various different topic types. Like, you like skateboarding, you start following skateboarding clips. All of a sudden, it's going to put you in the skateboard channel and just show you skateboarding reel after skateboarding reel after skateboarding reel. And damn, it's pretty entertaining, isn't it? Especially like late at night in bed. Like, I get caught in there and I'm like, God, it's getting so good. The algorithm is getting so good, and it knows how to mix everything up. Like, I get a little stand-up comedy, I get some fitness stuff, I get some stuff about my soccer teams. It's getting so good. So it's a very, very important skill set for an artist or photographer to acquire. And let me tell you, you don't have to work that hard or that long to be better than 98% of the other artists and photographers out there. And that's heartening. So that was a really long-winded question, long-winded answer. I hope I covered it. Good. Did you have any takeaways from that, Andrea?
I need to post more. Oh, even more.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think I've already learned so much about what my audience responds to from when I started, and just the more you do it, the more feedback you get, the quicker and more efficient you get at creating them, for sure.
The new course correct. And then you start, there's like a swing. It's like creating more. Okay, I'm getting more comfortable about it. Okay, I'm over the fact that I'm going to have to be on camera, and I'm on camera, and I'm showing my process, and then you're like, okay, I'm good. Next, I'm going to start focusing on way higher quality ones that are going to get a little bit more juice. And then just, the next thing you know, you wake up, it's 4 years down the line, you actually have a business. That's essentially the ball game. How I pitch it anyway. Yep, Debbie, I got you. Sorry, I was off the grid view. Debbie's probably had her hand up for like 30 minutes. She's like, yeah, thanks. Debbie, did you change your mind? I don't know if you changed your mind or not. You still have a question? You have to unmute on your end.
Right now. Can you hear me now?
I sure can.
Okay. My question is, I've done a lot of research on this for the last few years for all of my other businesses, and I'm wondering if you guys in art storefronts also build the marketing funnel that aligns all of this.
Yes.
TikTok and Facebook, and with our website. So is the marketing funnel included in the package?
Yeah. So a marketing funnel is nice little, terminology that we marketers came up with to pitch you on something that is more or less nonsense. All right. Like a marketing funnel is just, hey, get someone's attention. Step 1. Okay. Got my attention. Step 2. Try to get them to follow you on your socials. Step 3, try to get their email address. Step 4, email them. Step 5, get them to add something to your cart. Step 6, get them to check out. There's your marketing funnel, right? It happens whether you have one or not. So knowing what to do throughout that process is really the genius that you get with us. And yes, we teach you how to do all of the above all year long. It's like we're part technology solution, and then we're part college. That's what it is. Just a college where nobody graduates because these bastards are moving the goalposts so quickly on us. The whole game changes every other 6 months, which is just how it goes. Sorry, I'm in a mood on a Friday, but that's honestly like, what it is. Like you can never stop learning about the marketing, which is why we have 6 sessions a week internally every week. It's like college. Yeah. So yes,
thank you.
You will have a funnel. And no, don't worry about so what ends up happening, Debbie, is everyone's like, okay, You know, they taught me about this funnel. I got to have a funnel. Or they said that there's an ultimate guide to Facebook and Instagram ads. I'm going to go take that course. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take that course instead of actually doing any marketing. And then at the end of it, I'm going to realize maybe I need this thing, but I could have done way better if I would have just started in on the marketing. So that's how it goes. So don't worry about your funnels.
Okay.
You figure those things out when you start grinding. And that's for this business or the other business too, right? Like they all naturally have a funnel and you get a little bit better with it at time. So I'm not knocking funnels, but I am kind of knocking funnels. But I have a funnel, and I totally work on the funnel, so I know what they're saying. What's the other business, just out of curiosity?
I have a vacation rental by owner, and I have a published book, and I have a business on Amazon and eBay.
You are not messing around, Debbie.
No, and I'm a retired teacher, so no, I'm not messing around. I have a little bit of iron, a few irons in the fire.
Entrepreneurial octopus right there. I mean, there's tentacles going every which way. That's awesome. Thank you. Who else, guys? Comments, questions, concerns on a Friday? I looked right at Angelo. Angelo, I saw his eyes go up like that. He's like, oh, see, Emma, there we go.
So I am a student still, and I'm getting my BFA.
Okay.
But I'm also taking some entrepreneurial classes.
Awesome.
And for one of my classes, we have to make some sort of like app to help artists. And I don't know if this is the best question for right now, right here, but especially since like looking at your website, I was like, wow, you really do seem to fulfill a lot of like the needs that an artist has.
Yes.
So I was just wondering, is there something that you see that you're like, I don't want to spend the time and effort in this, but I have a team of developers that maybe could help out in some way, and I don't know.
Well, is the project like a general exercise, or you have to deliver a functioning app?
A functioning app.
Wow. And this is the art education that you're getting?
This is for my entrepreneurship minor.
For the entrepreneurship minor, yeah. You know, it's so funny because you could essentially say that we exist as a business, at least in our current iteration, not when we started, because art school is so utterly, totally, and completely worthless to teach you actually how to earn a living from your talent. There are no classes on how to make money as an artist or a photographer. There's no classes on how to price your work. There's no classes on how to market yourself, right? Like what you need to do earlier in your career, what you need to do later in your career. You learn about the classics, right? You know, you learn about all the periods, you know, Sunday afternoon on the island of Grand Jatte and the pointillism, you get all that, you know, your Monets, your mayonnaise, but they don't teach you anything about how to grow a damn business, which is infuriating. So I'm happy you're in the entrepreneurial class. What would my idea for an app be for artists? It's very, very interesting. Do you know what I would probably do? I would probably do... And is the prompt, it's for artists or it's for you to create a business around artists?
It's like any business, but I'm most inspired by, helping artists because I am an artist myself. And I see I have a lot of needs.
Yes.
But I also I'm if there's other things out there, I don't want to
Yeah, no. So I'll give you an idea. I'll give you an idea. So the one thing every single solitary artist and photographer needs, number one, is sales. The number two thing that every artist and photographer absolutely sucks at is running sales. Okay. So what my app would be a special flash sale deal of the day sales app. One artist featured per day, special discount on their work, and the price goes up on the piece, every piece that sells. So the first one sells for $10, then it doubles to $20, then it doubles to 40, then 80, and it goes all the way up to the last one at such and such price. Something like that. And there's a basic fundamental equation that exists in this world, and it's discount plus scarcity equals human beings more likely to take action. So what is a discount? Some percentage off. What is the scarcity? Ends tonight at midnight. Equals human beings more likely to take action. So that's what I would do. It'd be like a Groupon deal for artists, a different artist every single solitary day. And that would be extremely helpful for artists to get the exposure that they need. And I would get a video. I would do a live broadcast. It would drop every single solitary day. I would tease who the artist is going to be for tomorrow, and boom, that would be it. And that's what I would do.
Thank you.
Yeah. programming it shouldn't be that difficult either. Go on to Fiverr or go on to Upwork, and I mean they can't expect you to pay for all of that. I mean if it was basic, I don't know. I don't want to get too far down that road, but I appreciate you taking an entrepreneurship class. I think it's a good move.
Thank you. I appreciate this class a ton. Like I was going through I was like, okay, these are all needs that artists have. And I was going through your website and I was like, wow, like you really have covered so many things. I'm excited to explore it a little bit more.
Awesome.
But
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can build the good habits now, like when you're just launching your career, you know, you're going to blink, you're going to be 40 and you're going to have a huge business and all your peers are going to be like, how did you do that? And you're going to be like, I wasn't in la la land when I was in my 20s, right? Like I was actually doing what was important. I was building my social following. I was building an email list. I was trying to cultivate collectors. I had my pricing nailed down. I was selling merch. I was doing all the things that are so important. So I love it when people in their 20s come on these things, because I've talked to so many people, like, you know, one of the worst is somebody comes in their 60s and they were doing shows and fairs for 30 years. And I'm like, did you keep receipts of anyone that bought the work? No, we never did that in that day. Did you ever market to those folks? No, we never really did that in the day. I just showed up, sold the stuff, and left, right? And it's like, oh, you could have had a huge business and you just would have kept receipts on those people. Well, there was no email addresses. It doesn't matter. You can put in name, first name, address, and Facebook knows how to find these people. But anyway, so you build the correct habits, and I want you to subscribe to my podcast. Did you know I had a podcast?
No.
See, it's me doing some marketing, okay? Let me just show you, because I'm very proud of my ugly logo on this thing that I designed myself in Photoshop 2 seconds 8 years ago. Where is it? Podcasts. There it is. See that ugly orange headphone art marketing podcast, okay? That is why I am not an artist. Very clear. That's what I should do. I should do a contest. Free art storefront subscription to the artist that designs me my new and updated podcast logo. But it's very, very good, that one. There's a ton of good stuff on there. I don't just say that because it's mostly me. It is. Yep. Subscribe. That's what I'm talking about. You'll enjoy it, I promise. All right. You're asking for a URL. Oh yeah. Do I even know how to do that on here? Janine, if you just, whatever you listen to podcasts in, if you just search art marketing podcast, you'll find it. And that's how to go about it. But awesome, Emma, come back and see me. Start capturing emails. Start selling that artwork. All right. I can't remember. Was it Leon? Leon, did you have a question too? Oh, Angela. All right. Yep. Okay, I'll come to you next, Leon. Go ahead, Angela.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
I do 3D relief carvings, and I'm wondering, you know, what percentage of your artists are in that other category?
Yeah.
Aside from photography and painting and more of the streamline
Probably
artists.
like 8%, 9%, somewhere along there. You know, the reality is that, okay, a whole lot of our website features are designed specifically for wall art. Okay, great. But you know what? It's also just one giant e-commerce store. I mean, if you saw the range and scope of some of the stuff that my customers are selling, it's crazy. And I'm not just talking about sculpture or jewelry. I'm talking about records. That one's for you, Mark. Records, CDs, digital downloads, courses, trips to national parks where they teach you long exposure photography at night. So you have to have an e-commerce store wherever you are. Okay, that's just part and parcel of the deal. So we tick that box. But the bigger box is, it doesn't matter, you know, what your craft is, you still have a huge marketing problem that you need to solve. And so you benefit from that just as much as anyone else does. Like, you know, things are a little bit, what do your sculptures start at? What's the starting price point? What does it go to?
$50 up to maybe $700.
Maybe $700, yeah. That's a good range already, by the way. We need to get one in the upper echelons there. Per my pricing guide, still applies. But
yeah,
you know, a lot of times sculptures they don't even sell online anyway. Most of those people want a phone call, right? Or they want a Zoom call to look at it, especially because most of the sculptors we have are, you know, they're doing even bigger stuff, so it's even higher range, or at least a lot of them. So, you know, why am I bringing that up? The function of the website shifts a little bit in the sense that it's a full-blown e-commerce store, and that's what it's designed for. It's designed to replicate an art gallery. And most of our customers use it to do their direct sales, but it also functions a little bit for them as a portfolio site. And I shouldn't say this, but, you know, earmuff it for me. Andrew, okay, earmuff it. Don't listen to this.
Yeah.
But I would prefer that every single solitary time my customers get a lead, they don't even send them to the site. They get on the phone with them and make the transaction happen over video, because I want that personal one-on-one relationship with your customers. I want that happening all the way up to the point where you're selling so much work you couldn't physically have that many conversations per day. So on the sculptor side of things, because of the nature and the way that sculpture sells, it's really just a portfolio site up there for you. Yes, it can facilitate commerce, but you're using it to show off things beautiful in a museum-like setting, which is what our sites look like. And then you want to get these folks on the phone to get the deal over the line, or on a Zoom, or on a FaceTime. You know what I mean? So it changes a little bit, but the marketing is just fundamentally about the arbitrage of attention. You have to learn how to get good at it, and nothing changes there. Literally nothing changes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Good questions, though. All right, Leon, now I'm unmuting you. I'm pretty sure you got something.
Got to put my horns up there.
Yep.
I was a Longhorn from way back when.
Nice.
Back when Earl lived down the hall from me when I was a freshman. Amazing. I wanted to thank you, Patrick, and also Andrea. Getting a point to you answered one question as far as going from a standard Instagram account to a pro account. So I'll be doing some searches on that tonight. Yeah. I'm basically from the IT industry, been with IBM, EDS, HP for 30 years. So trying to dive into do something with art, rekindle a first love or second love besides that in music. Awesome. So when you're primitive or in the primary stages, I mean, a lot of this is like way global for me. And so it sounded like the what's that the program that you have that goes along and helps people with getting started?
Copilot.
Yeah. So I'm going to be looking more into that. And certainly I appreciate the emails and getting a chance to listen to yourself and other of the players and other people that are in the industry already. So I just wanted to thank you, both of you, and everyone else too.
Awesome. And I'm not in Austin. I'm actually in Newport, but I've definitely walked around that campus, and the campus is freaking beautiful.
Newport?
Yeah.
Rhode Island?
No, Newport Beach, California.
Oh, California. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I talk to people in Huntington Beach every day out in OC.
Yep. One town north.
Daily.
One town
Multiple
north.
Times.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thanks so much.
They have a great air show on the beach in Huntington. It's awesome because they let me bring my barbecue on the beach and cooking. Okay, on the sand, which you're not allowed to do that normally here. You know, with the propane tank and everything, and then the things are flying right over your head. My kids are running along. Oh, great Saturday. Great Saturday. I don't know why I just thought of that. Oh yeah, Huntington Beach. All right, guys. So I'm going to send you a replay. Oh yeah, Debbie, don't worry.
I just wanted to ask before you leave,
yes,
Andrea, a question. Is she still here?
Oh, she's here.
Yeah. So Andrea, when you began with Art Storefronts, where were you in your professional career as far as your art goes? Did you already have an Instagram and Facebook following? Were you already making sales and on a website? Where were you in the process when you started here?
Yeah, I was a full-time wedding photographer until COVID, and everything kind of fell apart. So I was scrambling to figure out, what do I do next? I had started selling my landscape work mostly in gift shops and galleries in the area. I had a page on my wedding site that had like a gallery of my images, but you had to email me for sizes and pricing, because I tried to make an e-commerce site on Wix and it just didn't work for selling art. So I had no online sales and a little bit of like in-person sales. And then so I was searching how to figure out how to market. That was the big thing that I knew I didn't know how to do. Was like the giant abyss of the internet is very different than marketing to local brides. So that's how I found Art Storefronts. So I had a wedding Instagram page that had about 250 followers. I worked for 3 years to get those 250 followers. It was agony of not knowing what to post ever. And I've been with Art Storefronts, like I said, since March of last year, and I have 1,400 on my following now. So it's just, they have a calendar that tells you every day what to do. It's just taken all of that, like, what the heck do I do today? Time that I used to spend just going, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? What's the purpose? All of that kind of, struggle and questioning kind of goes away, which is nice. It's nice to have a path. And then the ongoing support when I have questions is just amazing. Yeah.
But you are in a little bit more of year one. Is it fun, or is it a miserable grind every day where you wake up and you're like, man, I have to keep doing this. I have to keep doing this. I have to keep doing this. My larger point is that everyone starts this business with the wrong expectations, which is like, okay, make a couple Instagram posts, sent an email. Why haven't I sold $10,000 yet? And it's such the wrong mindset to have. Like, yes, the opportunity is absolutely incredible. You can do amazing things. But anyone that is successful in this business will tell you they've been at it, grinding, not selling that much, trying to figure out their way for sometimes several years. But, you know, the first couple, when you know, like, okay, this is going to be a grind. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be tough. I got to do this marketing stuff. I don't like it. But I'm going to learn. I'm going to get better. I'm going to crash through all those quitting points where everyone hangs it up and stops and goes and does something else that doesn't work. You get there. You get there. And that's like the one thing that I like to lay on the table and be very, you know, real about. And she'll tell you. I mean, I say this all the time, right? Like, and I nag her all the time too. Like, you know, when you're going through hell, keep going. You gotta fight in those early days until you figure it out and you hit your stride and you get good at all this stuff, right? You build an email list and you've been through a couple of Q4s where you've done all the marketing and run all the sales and everything else. But speak to that part a little bit.
Yeah, it's absolutely a roller coaster. There are days that I am just so frustrated and confused and discouraged, and days when I'm completely elated and it's super fun and I can't believe I'm, you know, doing what I dreamed of doing. And it's not always based on sales, but I've started a lot of businesses. This is the first business that I actually feel supported in with Art Storefronts, with the fact that when I get stuck, and, you know, businesses go up and down. So you get stuck. You don't know what's happening. You don't know why things have changed. And before, I would just be like, I don't know what to do. What changed? Why? And it's such a horrible place to get stuck in. And now I just jump on a call with the marketing team and I'm like, this is what's happening. Help. And they're like, yeah, okay. So here's an action plan. Here's some steps. Do these things and check back with us in a week or a month, and we'll assess and work some more. And it was really interesting. Omer had given me a set of actionable steps to work on, and he said, we'll check back in. And then the Office Hours podcast changed, so he wasn't running anymore. You and Nick are running it now, Patrick. And so he just Facebooked me this week on Messenger and said, hey, you know, I was supposed to check in with you, but I'm not running those anymore. So I just want to know how that's going. Let's chat about it. So that meant so much to me that he didn't forget that I was doing that. I just kind of thought I would just continue it on my own. So we just had a little chat on Facebook about what my next steps are and what's working and what to tweak. And that kind of support, there are no words for how much I personally appreciate having that guidance that's ongoing.
Does he pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, he does.
See, that's why I'm better.
I don't know.
That's why I'm better, okay? Because I hack a name every other time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I hope that helped. I tend to ramble.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're awesome.
No, it's the one thing that we like. Are we the perfect company? No. We've had all sorts of issues throughout the years, but I don't know of any other company where you are supported as much as you are supported with us. And it's this notion of like internal classes 5 days a week. And, you know, the rub is we do have some customers that are working all day long and, you know, they can't get into them. So they sometimes have to watch replays, or they sometimes have to, send their questions in. But I don't know of any other business where it's like that, right? Like, where week in, week out, you're talking to the same people that are supporting you, that are moving you along, that are picking you up when you're down in the dumps, that are teaching you the newest thing and what's changed, and doing these video tutorials and everything else, because it's hard. It's hard, and it's a lonely road. And yes, Janine, that's the podcast. You got the right link. It's a lonely road, and like, you know, the fundamentals of marketing will never change, but otherwise the goalposts are moving so quickly. Like, you know, one of the incredible things that we pioneered during COVID was this notion of a live art show. I really kind of like it. I might as well do my little screen share here. Hold on. Is this all working? Of course it's not working. My children, all the buttons, everything. I'm going to put this in the chat. This thing is so crazy tactical and packed with value. Let me put this in here. So Mark, this is for you. I want you to bookmark that and read that. It took me an hour to read that thing, essentially, for the podcast. It's in the podcast, too. But I go through all the tactical, and I go through everything. What was I going to show? I got to scroll down to the bottom of the search bar. Our website is so ugly. This thing so needs a tune-up. What is it? Live art shows. Yeah, quick start guide to live art shows. So one of the things we pioneered during COVID, and I'm really quite pleased about this because it was groundbreaking at the time, is this the wrong one? Yeah, shoot. Live art shows. Is this notion of a live art show, right? And what happened is that it? What did I, Ultimate Guide? Who titles these things? I just saw Ultimate Guide. I had it pulled up yesterday. Anyway, the point is that everyone was at home during COVID, right? And so this notion of running a live art show from your house, which is like really, really powerful thing to do. Here, I have a couple of them. So the idea was we're all in lockdown. Everyone's on their computers way more often. So run a live art show in which you would stream on Facebook or Instagram. Usually I would teach my customers to do it on both of them, right? And hold up the art, talk about it, have the little numbers flashing down the screen. Is this all showing you? Okay, good, it is. And I mean, the sheer volume of numbers of customers that YouTube is loading really slow, that I got to actually like run these things and do these things, and some with some like incredible results, and like everyone's terrified of being on video, right? Look at him, shameless company plug right there. I didn't even know he did that. Thank you, sir. Showing off the work, talking about it, offering it up for sale, Now, is this still an incredibly powerful technique? Absolutely it is. Is it as powerful as it was during COVID times? No, it's not, because during COVID times, you could go live on Facebook, and Facebook would show that to like hundreds of people. Like I would go live and do these broadcasts, and I would literally have like 500 people watching because everyone was locked up in their houses. Then Facebook's like, nope, we're not doing that anymore. So now when you go live, like I have right now, we're on Facebook, right? And I have 4 people watching on Facebook. I have 110,000 people on our Facebook page that like our Facebook page. 4 people are watching. That's essentially Facebook saying, yeah, this technique's not that valuable anymore. Now, I still do it, right? Because it doesn't cost me anything to do, and it's easy. And it can still be an incredibly powerful event if you promote it to your entire list ahead of time. But case in point, the arbitrage from that technique is not what it is now, today, that it was like a couple of years ago. And these things just change so quickly. So having the support, having the constant teaching, constantly getting better, like, Andrea's in the, is it Andrea or Drea? I'm not even talking to you. I honestly can't help myself. I just really enjoy it. Anyway, the point is, she's struggling with this. She's learning all this stuff. She's figuring it out. She's figuring out whether or not the work that she's working on now is going to sell, or she needs to try some different stuff. And it's painful for that period of time, right? But you end up getting to a spot when you stay focused and you don't quit. You stay consistent, which no artists and photographers do. When you stay consistent, you wake up, it's 3 years later, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just executed a sale, did 7 posts, sent an email to my list, made some sales, and now I'm on to the next. And it's an incredible thing, and it's all there. You just have to learn and take that train on that track, the marketing journey, seriously. So that's us. That's what we stand for. Too. We are interested in learning more. I'm so bad at this. I'm like the worst pitch person. You can get a demo. A demo is a Zoom where we walk you through all the plans, all the bells, all the whistles, all the things. And it's a Zoom session just like this with our outreach team. You can do that. There's buttons everywhere. Pick one of the 10,000 emails that we send you every single solitary week. I'm sure there's links all over that, and you can schedule it, and those are great. Otherwise, listen to the podcast. Leave me some comments on our Instagram post. I usually respond to those myself, or the CEO does directly, which is kind of fun, kind of cool. So definitely do that. Post more content on Instagram, okay? If you focus on that, you're going to get better at it, and the business will start growing. And there is no alternative, I'm afraid. If you want to have a serious business, you got to take the marketing seriously. That's just it. Otherwise, you're going to be like, I'm going to go try something else. There's going to be some shortcut out there. Someone so-and-so said that this is great, and then you're going to be a year older, a year from now, and nothing in the business will have changed. That's my position. And you don't have to sign up with our storefronts to realize any of that. So don't take it cynically. But that's just how I feel about it. What are you doing all weekend, Andrea? You have big plans?
Well, I'm trying to catch up because I've been sick, so I'm getting ready for my next market. I need to edit some photos. I would like to go for a hike because I haven't been out to shoot in a while, but we'll see how the energy levels are.
TBD.
You know.
TBD. It's all deadly. If I lived where you lived, I would do a lot of hiking too.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks all. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Everybody look for Emma's forthcoming app in the App Store. Emma's Artist Flash Sales. Yeah, I'll send you guys a replay of this and any and all of the links that I mentioned. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Q4 is coming, okay? The marathon is coming. Take it seriously. Take it seriously, you guys.